haven't been on this side of the camera in a while.
Are you normally on this side?
No, I just mean like I haven't been
sitting
here. Now I'm wearing a yarmulke. What's happened to me?
I know. Look at this. I didn't know if you needed me to bring you one.
No, I have so many from various weddings.
Look at you. Look at you.
I keep collecting them. I have enough. I have enough for like a couple different outfits. We'll see. Maybe I'll start.
This matches this one.
That's why I did it. I thought, I'd really go with. Although, I'm having a hard time with the clip part of it. That's not as used to that. There you go.
You and your Jewish fro.
Is that what this is? It's the smallest Jewish fro ever recorded. Well, welcome to the Torah Time review episode.
Is that what this is?
Review episode. Yeah, we're going to be talking about what I've covered so far in the Torah, and so you've watched the 2 episodes, and
it's very good. I'm not just saying that as the person who's the teller of the show and teller.
Thank you.
I think it's really good.
Really,
you're onto something.
Well, I think
it's very good questions, very insightful, and even though I know the story, hearing you read it, I'm actually quite captivated how you're doing it.
Really?
Yeah, because you're doing it in your Greg Berman way of doing it. It's somewhat theatrical,
very theatrical.
But I'm curious to hear, because it's review for me, and to hear it be read from, I want to say, naked eyes.
It is. I don't really know. I thought firmament was ground, and then literally the next sentence is like, oh wait, heaven. Whoops, whoops, whoops. So it really does. It's so interesting for me too. It's kind of like when when you have a friend that visits you in Los Angeles and they want to go see all the sights, and you're like, you want to?
Here's the Hollywood. Get on
there.
The Hollywood.
Go. What do you want to go to the Grove? All right, let's go to the Grove. I go to the Grove to pick up things from the farmers market. But these people are like, wow, look at this. The fountain's so beautiful. Yeah. Can you take my picture?
So I was excited seeing how excited you were in the stories. And I honestly think that they were genuine reactions.
Yeah.
And
I'm doing reaction videos to the Torah. That's the next level content.
And you should know, and I think I said this to you off the camera, is that you were asking some of the bigger questions that the Jewish sages are asking as well. So you're preempting questions that sages from 1,000 years ago were asking the same questions. So it means you're onto something, Rabbi Greg Berman.
Well, now that I'm wearing this yarmulke, I just feel closer to God, closer to my spirituality. Truly, what happened was, after that first episode, I watched myself read it, and then I did the second one, and I'm like, man, I should be wearing a yarmulke. I should be wearing a kippah. I feel like I'm engaging in this timeless tradition of digesting this book. I should dress the part. So we'll see how far I get before I start going like, I should cover my tattoos a little bit. Like, I'm doing that now, but I don't have to.
Oh, part of my
exactly. And one day I wake up, I open the book, and there's like a tattoo removal in there. Love, Rabbi.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, wait. Who put this here?
I thought we were supposed to go in order.
Oh, you don't remember that part of the Torah? The Greg, get rid of your tattoos part of the Torah?
I will say this, is somebody reached out to me and said, who is also Russian, and said, Rabbi, is this your way of getting Greg closer to Judaism by having him read the Torah? And I said, whatever works.
You didn't tell him this was my idea?
Yeah, I said, this is his idea.
Someone else who's Russian.
Someone else was Russian. They were like, what's going on here?
What's Greg doing? Greg is trying to learn. Greg is...
no pressure, nothing. There's no labels. We are just going with the flow.
We're just reading.
Greg is curious. Greg wants to know. Greg has questions, and you know what?
Look, when I'm done with this thing, I'm going to start the Quran, and we'll do it on Show and Teller. I'll go with the Quran, and then I think I'm going to take a break and do like the Scientology one or something more fun, something with a narrative.
Yes,
and then go back to the Bible.
It's good.
I think the first question that I have that I noticed is, what is the structure? Because there are these big numbers, and then there's the small numbers, like the 3, and then there's like 1, 2, 3 within that. So is the 3, is that the Parsha number?
Okay, so for those who are looking here, you're gonna have to like cut it in, but there's, for the camera to see, there are something called chapters, and then there's something called verses. So when it says a big 3,
That's chapter.
that's chapter, and if you see the little 1,
That's
it's
verse.
chapter 3, verse number 1.
Okay. So when
So it would, in a verse, and he was called a pasuk.
Pasuk, not Parsha.
This whole parsha is Parshat Bereshit. You're reading from Parshat Bereshit, which is the Torah portion of Genesis. So you're reading right now, when you started the 7 days of creation, that was the start of the Genesis, or the Torah portion of Genesis, or also known in Hebrew, Parashat, the Parsha of Bereshit, which is the section, the Torah portion of Bereshit. And there's X amount of chapters and there's X amount of verses. Typically, there's about 120, I'm giving you a general number, there's typically about 120 verses per Parsha.
So like for my bar mitzvah, when I read my Torah Parsha, how many, is it a certain amount of verses? Is each Parsha about the same amount of verses?
It's roughly,
How is it? It's split into days, right?
correct.
Like there's a Parsha per day.
There's a Parsha per day, correct? So there's also what's known as, here, there's on the side, it says Shlishi. So for instance, Shlishi is the third Aliyah. So how it works is that when somebody gets called up to the Torah, there are 7 sections in a Torah portion. There are 7, it's divided into 7 readings, if you want to call it. So the first reading, the Cohen gets called up. The Cohen is the priest. The Cohen gets precedent everything Jewish in Judaism. He's the person who served in the temple. He's when
Turn your mic up a little bit. And now that I'm here, I actually see it from this perspective. Continue.
So the Cohen is the person who gets kedima or precedent. We give him the honor, and for another time, I'm not going to get into all the laws of the Cohen, but they get the first reading of the parsha.
Okay.
The second reading goes to the Levi, the Levim,
Right.
which is a tribe of Israel, and actually the Cohen came from the tribe of Levi. So the first Cohen, the first high priest, was Aaron HaKodesh. It was Moses' older brother. So Moshe comes from the tribe of the Levium. So the first Cohen, the first person who served in the temple, was Aaron. He gets the Kedima, he gets the first Aliyah. The second would be the Levium, so anybody who's a Levi, and being that Moshe didn't get the honor of being the high priest, he was just the leader of the Jewish people, he maintained his Levium status, so they get the second Aliyah. And being that we as a Jewish people, we're 12 tribes, but we don't know all the other tribes. We're all lost tribes, with the exception of the Levium.
Okay.
Or Cohen. All the other tribes are kind of just known as Yisraelim.
Got it. The rest.
The
Miscellaneous.
Israel.
So to speak.
They're Israel.
Yeah.
Israelites. So we are all part of the tribe of Israelites at this point. There's really hard, you would not be able to know I'm from the tribe of Binyamin, I'm from the tribe of Zvulun, I'm from the tribe.
Do you know what tribe you're from?
No, we don't.
I don't either.
No, we don't. So we're all just classified as the Israelites.
Although I think my mom's dad is a Cohen. So my grandpa on my mom's side is a Cohen. But that doesn't get passed to me.
It gets passed down from the dad's side.
Father's, and I don't think my dad knows.
Correct.
What his dad was. Okay. So Judaism is passed down through your mother, but the family tribe is passed down through your father.
Correct.
Interesting.
So Aliyah, so again, Cohen gets the first Aliyah, Levi gets the second Aliyah, and then Aliyah 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they call up different Israelites.
Right.
So you would be an Israelite, I would be an Israelite. So they call up the third Aliyah as
But why is it though that okay? So I mean, this isn't related to what I mean, this is what we could get to this later. But why is it that the reason that Judaism is passed down through the mother is because it's the only way to know for sure that this person is definitely your mother. We know that because you
came from
her womb, right? And the father, we don't know that for sure. But then why is it that the family lineage is transferred through the father, not the mother, when the father is an unknown?
Stumped the rabbi. Number one.
We'll come back.
I would have to look that up.
That's interesting.
And tell you. I've heard the answers, but I don't want to give you a wrong answer.
Okay, good.
So
yeah.
I have to be prepared.
We'll do a review episode of the review episode.
Correct.
I think that's great.
Correct.
We're going to keep going up the hierarchy,
Right.
get bigger and bigger rabbis until we take this thing all the way to the
all
top.
the way to the top.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, and it
Okay.
could very well be that it's, and again, I don't want to give the wrong answer.
Right.
And this could be the wrong answer, what I'm about to give, because it's usually the man that we follow after the man's customs. It's usually the man who prays. He's the one who's serving. He's the one that is participating more in the day-to-day customary things. Not to say that women are not, but in the service of the temple, the service of the avoda, of the higher things that we need to do, it's usually the man who's participating in that. So maybe, I don't know for sure, but it could be that it's passed from there.
So getting back to the Torah. So in the beginning, so
that answer your question. There's chapters.
Yeah. That
there's
gives
verses,
me a bit more
and then
of an
there's
idea.
and then there's it breaks it down into
The
different aliyot.
sects.
You get called up for an aliyah. Aliyah means to get called up.
Got it. Okay, great. Okay, so the main thing, I think the biggest thing I noticed in the first chapter and the first episode was that repetition. God saw it and it was good. What is the purpose of, first of all, a lot of repetition in the Torah in general, it seems. It's almost like it's like the Torah is written like an interview, where like when you ask the question, it's always good to repeat part of the question.
And by the way,
answer.
no words are considered superfluous, meaning
Right.
So it does repeat itself,
But on purpose.
Right.
So that means that every time he said it was good, we can assume that, right? Why would he make anything that wasn't good? Or is it the realization
he could have said, you know what, God created this on day 1, this on day 2, this on day 3, this on day 4, and days 1 through 7.
Great.
And it was all great.
Wait,
and it was good.
Also, who wrote the Torah?
Who wrote the Torah? So we believe that Moses went up to Mount Sinai, and for 40 days and 40 nights.
So this was Moses's. So Moses is the author.
Moses is the accounting. I mean, even though Moses comes another 1,000 years after this, he's going up there and writing what took place 1,000 years before.
From God's point of view.
From God's point of view, and then he writes it as like an actual story as time is happening until he dies.
Well, it makes sense why the beginning of the book is so quick, because God was like, all right, well, there was these 2 people, and then they ate from this tree, and I was like, It feels like it kind of moved kind of quickly.
I mean, you did ask that question in the second episode. You said it just seems to be like it's just moving so quickly. It was like, here comes
Abel.
Cain.
Yeah, Cain and Abel.
Boom, and then
Abel's dead.
and then he kills him.
So quick.
And we'll see that later when you get there, that Avraham comes onto the scene. The Torah starts writing about Avraham at age 70 years old. Wait a minute. Why didn't you write about Avraham from years 1 through 69?
Right.
Why is it important for you to talk about Avraham at age 70? And by the way, there were stories that Avraham had, very famous stories that are almost kind of like folk tales or folklore.
That didn't make it in the book.
That didn't make it into the book, but they made it into what's called midrashim, which are kind of like the
oral tradition,
off camera, like the off camera, what happened behind
BTS, behind the scenes.
The behind the scenes.
Really?
And there are behind the scenes things that we needed to know, but there's a reason why it didn't make it into the book. So to answer your question, Cain and Abel, why is it that you give me 2 sentences and then all of a sudden Abel gets killed?
And so like casually too, like it wasn't like a big thing. I mean, God was pretty upset. But I also didn't quite understand. So God was upset with Cain for killing Abel.
Well, hold on. we were talking about God is everything was good. We didn't answer that
sorry,
question.
yeah, we didn't get that far.
We didn't get that far. So
many questions. I'll relax. I'll slow down. Okay.
So to answer your question, and it was good. And day 1, and it was good. Day 2, and it was good. Day 3, and it was good.
And day 6, it was really good.
Really good.
At one point, it was really good. He was really proud. Is that people?
That was the people.
People
day.
he was really proud of. Until he gets to the Noah chapter, not as proud. You haven't seen that episode yet. You just wait.
I might know what happens.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Rabbi, you got to hear this story.
It's crazy. Cubits? What?
Okay, so it was good implies that God, in a way, was content.
It was self-assessment.
It was self-assessment. Again, not that God has emotions, God has
Right.
feelings. That's what we learn. But God was, so for our proverbial understanding, to put it in our terms, is that God felt that he did all he needed to do on day 1. And you know what? And he stopped creating those things on day 1 because that's all what was needed. That was all that was mandatory on that day. And that it was complete. I had a start, I had a finish, and you know what? That was it. I don't need to edit, I don't need to add, I don't need to subtract. It was good.
And you know good what? For now, at least for this
today,
time and the amount of work.
For this amount of time,
love that.
It was good. And you know what? For God, we'll add another day and we'll start a new process the other day. And you know what? He got to day 2 and he created the luminaries in the sky. The sun, the moon.
Was that 2?
The firmament. He did the firmament he separated between the
which is not earth, by the way.
The upper heavens and the lower heavens.
Yeah.
It was just all water. And he created an atmosphere.
That was smart.
And we created the luminaries. I think that was day 3. And it was good. Meaning it was like, that's all we needed to do today. And you know what? We're okay with that.
I really like that. I love the idea
but again, it's
of addressing completion.
But it's not just, these are just abstract stories. These are, what can I learn?
Right.
We call it Torah Time. Torah's Chaim. The Torah is meant to be a living Torah. It's meant to be something that we glean real life learnings and teachings from it.
That's how I felt.
So
when
ultimately,
I read that.
In our own lives, when do we go through a process, we get to a culmination and we say, I got it. I finished. And it was good.
At least for now, this is good. I'm happy.
And I'm okay with it. And I'm content with it.
Content. Yeah, I like that. I think that's what I walked away with. I walked away with, it's like, a million people could walk by the same painting and every person could tell a different story from that painting. And I think it kind of feels similarly here because I walked away with that lesson. I walked away thinking, sometimes I don't have to always see the full picture. I don't know what the week looks like, but I know what today looks like and I know what I did today. And I did my best and it was good. And some days it's really good, but it's never bad.
Because we've talked about this in previous episodes. What's that saying that you've learned from me?
That bad.
Nope.
No.
Gamzu latova.
Everything is for the good.
Everything's from the good. So if everything is from God, everything is from the good. So if we live with this concept that, you know what, right now, I don't need to go further in this journey. Mm-hmm. I can stop right now, look at it and be like, if it's from God,
it's good.
It's good. So we learn that from God.
It's meant for the good.
It's meant for the good.
Like our episode with Ariel Berkovitz. A similar thing. He got into a terrible accident, and it was good. And he would say that.
He wouldn't wish it upon himself.
No, but he would.
But you have to find the silver lining.
He said, "I'm happy with my life now," and he feels like he learned a lot. And that's what I got from that episode because I was in a similar thing, having been in a motorcycle accident, and it was good. I'm still here. And I learned a lot.
You went through some struggles. You went through a journey.
And I learned a lot.
You didn't necessarily know what was going to happen.
No.
But in the process of you being aware, you being connected, you taking the lessons as they come,
That's how I lived that time. Is every day at the end of the day, I'd go, man, I lived today and it was good. Because every day I was like, I didn't know what this was going to look like the next day. I didn't know how much progress I could make on being able to bend my leg a certain amount or walk or any of that. But every day at the end of the day, I was like, well, I got through one more and it was tough, but it was good. It's interesting. So then he makes Adam and Eve.
And you had a question, as I recall, that you said something along the lines like, it was man's responsibility that he had to name all the animals.
Yeah. So God named a lot of other stuff, but the animals he had Adam do. Interesting. That's a lot of animals.
It's a lot of animals. And he named all the animals.
What is the significance of that? Why is it that why was that power given to? That was the first power that was given to anyone, I think. That was the first thing. I think I mentioned that. That's the first command. Hey, you name all these other things.
So from my understanding is that when you give name to something, you appreciate it.
That's true. That's why they say if you find a dog, don't name it anything because it's not yours. And you'll be harder to give it up.
You're going to take ownership
and
have a relationship with those beings when you name it.
Did Adam name Eve?
He named Eve.
That's right. He did.
He did name Eve. Now, your question was, why did he name her so much later? He could have named her at the time of...
Yeah, they didn't name her until after she ate of the fruit of the tree.
Because that's when her true essence came out. There was an aspect of her, of like a little bit of her essence came about at that moment.
Do we have an idea of how long they lived together before she did that? Because in the book, it was literally like sentence apart. Because it seemed like here's Eve, and here's the tree you're not supposed to eat from, and then immediately we're with the snake.
Immediately with the snake. So, again, part of the backstory, I don't think it was day one of being in the garden that this is what happened.
Right.
Yeah. I don't believe it happened on day one.
I was going to say, because the snake was like, hey, you should check this out. And she was like,
okay. There was some backstory. They were enjoying their life, quote
unquote. And that's in the Midrash?
Yeah. And then ultimately, things started happening. So you asked another question. You asked a couple questions. One that stood out was, and they were in the garden, and because they were living their life, their one job was to tend to the garden. And again, we talk. You can eat from any tree, but you can't eat from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. And by them being in the garden together, living life, exploring God's creations, it said that they were not naked. So why did the Torah have to say to us, because that was your question, I believe you asked the question, they were not naked. They were not naked.
Well, no, it's not that, I don't know if, does the Torah say they were not naked? I
no,
just remember where it labels when they are naked.
Excuse me. No, they said...
They were naked and ashamed.
Correct. But I believe that it said something along the lines like, and they were naked.
Yeah.
And it was like they had to tell...
And it was fine.
And it was fine.
Yeah.
As I recall. I'm sorry, I'm not...
When they were created, it was like, there they were and they were naked or something like that. And then later he says they were naked and ashamed.
Correct.
Now, so the shame was the addition.
So what is the...
That nothing has changed except for their perception of their nakedness.
Correct.
Because then God made them the things from the fig leaves.
Correct. So what happened, essentially what that meant is that, and we're getting deep and I don't know how much longer we're going to go. I don't want to go too long here, but just to answer the question, is that by them being in the garden at this point, they were, as we understand it, they were just simple, soulful. They were just a soul.
No body.
They were no body at this point.
That's right.
So the reality is that by them being classified as a soul, even though they had a body, they were classified as a soul, implying that when you are naked and you're just a soul, you don't acknowledge that you're a body. You don't acknowledge any shame because you just see yourself as a being connected to God. So you're a being connected to God, and there was no shame, acknowledgement of them standing there naked. okay? Because they were just a soul. Now, when they end up eating from the tree of knowledge of good and bad, and we've talked about this in our previous episode,
Yeah.
temptation
Right.
and desire were exterior to man at that point. The minute you took a bite from the tree of knowledge of good and bad, now shame, desire, temptation became an integral part of man's being. So now there was a separation between soul and body. And now, because now they were now actually a body from that moment, meaning temptation was now a part of who they were, they now saw themselves as the body for the first time and said, oh my gosh, I'm naked and I feel ashamed.
It's almost as if
Because I brought shame, I brought something which was external, and it inherently became a part of who I am now. Where before, they didn't have to compete with, am I doing the right thing or not? It was all just me being close to God as a soul being. But now, the minute I ate from the tree of knowledge of good and bad, now I had to compete with, am I going to be making the right decision or am I going to be making the wrong decision? Am I going to be making a decision because my body is telling me to do it, or it's because my soul wants me to get elevated right now?
Which is what I was actually, there was a point where I asked this at the end of the episode too, which is that once they ate from the tree of knowledge of good and bad, they've learned that there is bad. Because before that, there was no bad. Well, and that's, I think, another question I thought of was whether or not, is it just the sheer idea of the recognition of bad that creates bad? Like, was there bad before they knew what bad was? Because you're saying they were souls and then they got a body, and then once they got the body, then there became this knowledge of good and bad because there's temptation versus soul.
Bad became
once they understood bad.
Yeah,
that's when bad started.
They put on the goggles.
Right, because before that it was a perfect utopia.
Correct.
There was no bad, nothing was bad.
Now there had to be a distinguishing between this is what's bad and this is what's good. Or now I have to acknowledge that this could be bad for me.
That's a really fundamental truth. The idea that bad only exists through human perception. It's like time. Time only exists through human perception. To this table, time means nothing, in a way. I mean, it does, because the table does deteriorate, but it doesn't have a feeling about time, right? So that means that, there's the age-old question, are we born good or are we born evil? Technically, we're born good. If we're extrapolating what the Torah says, technically we're born good, because it's not until we recognize that bad exists
that it's a learned.
The idea of bad even but then again, it's like there are bad things that happen to kids. It's only there to kids who don't, or babies, I guess, who don't know the difference between good and bad. That doesn't mean that the bad thing isn't bad. It just means that it's not bad from their perspective yet. Or maybe just the moment that happens is when they learn. I don't know. It's such an interesting concept because it suddenly it creates the concept that bad is reactive.
Bad is also a perception.
Yeah. That
of something which again is not feeling comfortable to me, or something that could potentially cause me, and we've had this talk,
something that's
pain.
not good.
Correct.
Right? Interesting, because once I was reading through that, I was like, wait a minute, like that's when they learned the knowledge of good and bad, and they were naked and ashamed. And also the concept of shame almost seems like the antithesis to soul. Mm-hmm. It's like if you were just a soul, you would have no need for shame. It is only the body that gives us shame. Interesting.
Do you want to stop here?
I think so, because really the rest of the Cain and Abel story, I mean, it felt like it was a lot of logistics. Like, here's all the people, and they named a bunch of names.
I mean, again.
Interesting.
If you wanted to talk about Cain, we could talk about it now at the end of this episode.
Wait,
we can talk about it at the beginning of the next episode.
I have one more question about this one, and I think we can get through it fairly quickly because I think this was just a thing. So everyone, as I was listing all of the names of the people, it was like, and then this person lived for this long, he gave these kids, and then he died. And this person lived this long, and these kids, and then he died. Yeah. Also, Seth. I didn't know that was a.
Well, in Hebrew,
and Jared.
in Hebrew, Seth is known as Shase.
That sounds a little better.
Shase.
Seth. Just when I read that, I was like, what? And Jared. Okay, from Subway. Not him for sure.
And in Hebrew, not Enoch, it would be Hanoch.
Hanoch. Yeah, I definitely mispronounced most of them.
It's okay.
But there was one. All of them died, but one person. Hanoch, right? He walked with God, and then God took him. Why was he the only one that was different than all the others?
So again, it's backstory, or it's written not
Midrash.
It's Midrash, but I believe he was the only one of that generation who truly
committed to this.
Committed to the type of lifestyle of walking with God.
So he was, I guess,
He was a
rabbi.
righteous, yeah, he was a righteous individual, where everybody else was kind of
doing their thing.
I mean, again, because what happened was there was 10 generations from Adam to Noach. And from those 10 generations from Adam to Noach, there was a lot of stuff, but a lot of bad things that were happening.
Yeah.
Stealing,
robbery,
stealing, not respecting other people's property and stuff. And because of that,
but not murder, right?
Not murder, but it was stealing.
Yeah, robbery.
That
was the big problem.
God basically said, okay, because you don't care about your friend's property and you're robbing, we're gonna kill off the generation. So everybody in those 10 generations was more or less going off, where Hanoch was kind of staying on a path.
Yeah, because God took him. He didn't die. God took him, which is an interesting distinction.
Yep.
Very interesting for a time when death was still kind of a new thing. And then, okay, the last question is, the way that they measure age, everyone was like 600, 900 years old. I imagine a year is not the way that we think of it now.
That is the more common opinion.
Is that a year could have been like months or something.
Correct.
Because they were probably really realistically like in their like 30s and 40s, right?
But then there are also opinions to say that people actually live that long.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but again,
that's a specific opinion.
That's a harder thing to grasp.
Yeah.
There's no way of really knowing.
Yeah, I mean, with no modern medicine or anything, I imagine probably.
And then in the 1940s and 1920s, people would live no past their 50s. So it's like you go from 900 to 50 to now modern medicine, where Halavai we get to 90. Anyway.
Interesting. Well, there you have it, folks. Some real good stuff. I already have another. I have all of Noah's already in the bag, and then maybe I'll do another one or two, and then we'll do another one of these.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yay.
For next time.
Bye-bye. Torah time. All right. Great.
Amazing.